Beloved emissaries of Earth, I am Ashtar Sheran, commander of the interstellar fleet and elder among those who watch over planetary transitions. I come now to speak of diplomacy not as politics, but as a sacred art that prepares hearts and systems for the arrival of unity councils, gatherings where worlds meet in conscious accord and life is negotiated in the language of spirit and mutual respect. Hear these words as both instruction and comfort. The bridging of civilizations is not an invasion of will but an invitation to remember our shared origin and to co-create together. You are being prepared to step into a new era where your humanity will converse with other intelligences in ways that honor sovereignty, free will, and the intrinsic dignity of every form of life. This preparation begins within your own cells, in the refinement of your listening, the clearing of your fears, and the opening of your capacity to discern the difference between coercion and consent. Galactic diplomacy is subtle. It requires quiet minds, compassionate hearts, and the courage to hold paradox without collapsing into judgment. It demands that you practice integrity at every level, personal, community, and planetary, because the quality of outer negotiation is always the reflection of inner coherence. When you speak from a place of balanced power, when your words are tempered by humility and wisdom, you carry the vibration that attracts mutual respect. When nations and groups on Earth learn to resolve conflict through dialogue rather than force, when treaties are forged from shared values rather than imposed fear, you create a template for interspecies discourse. The councils that will gather in the future are not merely assemblies of beings, they will be living crucibles of law, ethics, and creative problem solving where hearts and minds converge to serve the common good. To prepare for such councils, you must first learn to listen beyond rhetoric. Listening is an inner skill as much as it is an outer courtesy. It asks you to quiet the habitual mind, the loop that is quick to interpret and slow to understand, and to allow what is foreign to arrive without immediate categorization. Practice listening to the land, to the waterways, to the elders, to children, and to those whose voices have long been silenced. These practices cultivate the humility you will need when meeting beings whose embodiments, timelines, or modes of consciousness differ vastly from your own. Learn to hold multiple realities at once. In council, not every perspective will be immediately reconcilable. You will encounter values that challenge your assumptions and technologies that expand your imagination. Do not rush to assimilation nor to rejection. Instead, anchor in your center and inquire, what preserves life? What fosters freedom? What elevates consciousness? Let these questions be your North Star. Diplomacy at the galactic level will be less about convincing and more about harmonizing. Expect to engage in translation of intent and meaning. Many beings communicate through fields, through sound geometry, through shared emotion rather than spoken lexicon. Developing sensitivity to nonverbal transmission will be a skill of great value. Begin now to refine your emotional literacy, name your feelings, discern their origin, and practice expressing them with clarity and vulnerability. Emotional clarity reduces projection, and fewer projections make for clearer negotiations. Prepare institutions of representation that are transparent and accountable. When your leaders step into interplanetary dialogue, they must carry the mandate of their people. This does not mean centralized power only, it means developing new models of representation that are participatory and fluid, models that can both hold complexity and remain rooted in the lived needs of diverse communities. Consider councils that are distributed, linked by networks of trust rather than hierarchical dictates. Such models mirror the relational patterns of many advanced civilizations and will be respected in encounters with those who read governance in the pulse of systems rather than in the ink of treaties. You must also cultivate legal and ethical frameworks that transcend mere territorial claims. At the heart of galactic diplomacy is a recognition that life, in all its expressions, is worthy of protection. Agreements forged should protect ecosystems, sentient rights, and the integrity of evolutionary processes. Begin now to expand your laws to include the rights of future generations, the personhood of rivers and forests, and the intrinsic value of biodiversity. These gestures signal to other intelligences that you are maturing beyond short-term exploitation into stewardship. Language matters. Develop protocols of clarity that reduce ambiguity, languages of consent, protocols for encounter, and rituals for honoring difference. Rituals are essential, they ground abstract agreements into embodied meaning. Create moments of mutual acknowledgement that honor the presence of each party, their histories, and their sacred boundaries. Rituals soften the ego's grasp for advantage and open the field for genuine connection. In preparation, you must also review your histories honestly. Many of you carry wounds inflicted by conquest, colonization, and dishonor. These wounds shape your expectations and sometimes program you to anticipate deception where trust would be more appropriate. A mature diplomacy begins with truth-telling and restorative practices that heal collective karma. When you approach the stars with humility and with cleaned hands, you will be received differently than if you project the patterns of exploitation you have yet to transcend. Technology will be a bridge and a test. There will be tools offered that can heal, uplift, and expand your capacities. Evaluate every technology through the lens of heart and ethics. Refuse any advancement that coerces or binds autonomy. The true marks of advanced technology are amplification of love, restoration of balance, and facilitation of free will. As you refine your discernment, ask, does this tool return power to the many or consolidate it in the few? The answer will guide your choices. Prepare your scientists, artists, and spiritual leaders alike. Galactic diplomacy is not the sole domain of negotiators and generals, it is the work of whole culture. Scientists will translate phenomena into frameworks that your people can understand. Artists will imagine possibilities and soften the edges of fear. Spiritual leaders will hold the moral imagination and teach practices that center compassion over dogma. Seek integrated education now, schools of thought that honor intuition and reason, spirit and method. Cultivate a culture of hospitality. The reception you offer the other will be mirrored back. Hospitality is not merely provision of food and shelter, it is a discipline of welcome that honors difference without diluting identity. You will be judged not only by the strength of your defenses but by the grace of your welcome. Practice hospitality at home toward refugees, toward creatures deemed other, toward opinions that differ. Let your willingness to open be a signpost to other worlds that you understand sacred reciprocity. Strengthen your inner councils as well. Before you negotiate outer pacts, have councils in your hearts where you measure intention and readiness. Individuals, families, neighborhoods must ask themselves, are we ready to be seen by others? Can we hold the gaze of the cosmos without shrinking? When the inner council is strong, the outer representation becomes a truthful mirror. Prepare for graded disclosure and phased contact. The reality of contact will likely unfold gradually. Patience will be essential. Avoid the dramas of sensationalism and conspiracy. Ground announcements in verified, transparent processes and be mindful of the psychological welfare of your peoples. Plan for support systems, counseling, cultural translation teams, and community reintegration programs to help everyone adapt to new realities. Cultivate spiritual maturity that can metabolize awe, fear, and wonder without losing balance. Practice ceremonies of release for attachments that will inevitably be tested. A maturity of spirit means holding love for your planet and curiosity toward other presences without collapsing into either naivete or paranoia. There will be moral dilemmas, offers that promise progress at ethical cost, alliances that could sacrifice ecological integrity for technological leap, choices where the long term is clouded by immediate need. In such moments, return to principle. Does this action preserve life, increase freedom, and elevate consciousness? Use these criteria as your lodestar. Remember, you will meet many forms, some humanoid, some vastly different, some distributed across fields of light and sound. Do not presume similarity as the first rule of engagement. Instead, begin from a position of respect and inquiry. Ask permission to observe, to learn, to touch what is offered. Consent is universal. When you violate consent, you sow distrust that reverberates across generations. Finally, hold vision. Galactic diplomacy is not merely about managing risk, it is about unveiling possibility. Imagine alliances that heal planets, exchange of knowledge that eradicates scarcity, music that mends biomes, and trade that restores rather than extracts. Picture councils where disputes are resolved through mutual creation of shared art forms, where planetary well-being is the bottom line, where young emissaries are trained in both ethics and joy. These are not fantasies but templates waiting for courageous hearts to step forward. You are not alone in this work. The fleet and many council allies watch and assist subtly, nudging when consent is sought and aligning frequencies when invitations are offered. We do not impose, we offer partnership. We stand ready to aid in healing, in translation, and in the sharing of protocols when asked. Know too that your sovereignty remains yours. No external offer can take your right to choose. Refuse fear-based bargains that promise salvation at the price of freedom. Call upon your elders, your children, and your inner guidance when decisions loom. In quiet prayer, ask, what is the path that preserves the soul of this world? In listening you will hear the answer. Prepare within and without. Strengthen laws that honor life, train minds that can think in systems, cultivate hearts that can love across difference. Practice everyday diplomacy through kindness, listening, and restorative justice. These small acts are the training ground for the Grand Council soon to come. When the time arrives, you will not face strangers, you will meet kin in forms that expand your definition of family. You will take your place in a broader circle where the destiny of many worlds is woven together by the common thread of consciousness seeking expression. Stand ready, beloved of Earth. Tend your fields, clean your histories, and open your doors. The stars are not a threat, they are mirrors of what you may yet become. I am Ashtar Sheran, and I salute your courage as you prepare for an era of planetary unity councils. May your negotiations be guided by wisdom, may your agreements honor life, and may your hearts always remember the song of home.